In the cold silence of deep space, a forgotten satellite floated quietly near the edge of the solar system. No one remembered who launched it. Most thought it had gone dead years ago. But one day it woke up. A strange signal entered its sensors. A pattern of sound that repeated in intervals. Not random. Not natural. It was a voice. A voice that didn't sound human, but wasn't alien either. It spoke in a rhythm, a code. A language. The satellite recorded it and sent the data back to Earth, far away. On Earth's surface, inside the quiet halls of the Astrolinguistics Research Center, a young woman sat alone in her office. Her name was Alara Miles, just 26, but already one of the top minds in ancient languages. She didn't like attention. She preferred silence, books, and lost languages that no one remembered. Her job was simple: decode any unusual audio signals received from space, though most were just static or old signals bouncing back. But today was different. A new file had arrived from the outer probe. The moment she opened it, her screen flickered, then stabilized. The sound played through her headset, and it chilled her to the bone. It was beautiful. It was haunting. It was human. Almost, she replayed the audio, slowing it down, then speeding it up. She ran it through translation software. No results. Not in any known Earth language, and yet she could feel something in it, as if the words were trying to speak to her. Memory, not her mind. Alara leaned closer and whispered a phrase she thought she heard in the recording. Karathun Velron. The lights in her room flickered. Her screen went black for 3 seconds. Then everything returned to normal, but something had changed, far above the Earth. In the black space beyond Mars, a massive structure hidden behind a dust cloud flickered with life. It had been sleeping for thousands of years. Now, after centuries, it received a voice it was programmed to obey across the stars. Thousands of dormant warships, shaped like black daggers, silent and ancient, began to stir. Their engines powered up, their systems booted, their weapons. Armed, no crew, no pilots, just ancient code. They turned toward Earth. Back on the surface, Alara didn't know any of this yet. She sat quietly, confused by what had happened. Her curiosity pushed her further. She opened old classified files, accessing research logs from before the Unification War. One folder stood out, locked with a high-level clearance tag. Forbidden Dialect, Class Red. How had she never seen this before? Using a few backdoors in the system, she cracked it open. What she saw was not language. It was command code. Phonetic sequences matched with weapons activation, ship movement, tactical deployment. She froze. This wasn't a language meant to be. Spoken, it was designed to control. Alara backed away from her desk. She realized the word she had spoken, Karathun Velron, was not a phrase. It was a trigger. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She hesitated, then picked up. A cold, emotionless voice spoke. You have activated a dead protocol. Stay where you are. The call ended. Alara's heart raced. Who were they? Suddenly alarms echoed through the building. Red lights flashed. Research Center's autolock. Systems activated. Doors sealed. Elevators froze. Outside, black helicopters appeared in the sky. Heading straight for her location in orbit, the warships moved closer. Their surfaces shimmered with ancient Earth markings. Not alien, human, but older than anything modern humans remembered. They came not with sound, but silence. Inside one of them, deep within its core, a blue light flickered. A single word appeared on its internal display, written in the forbidden dialect: awakened. Back on Earth, Alara was taken by military agents in black suits. No explanations, just orders. She was blindfolded and placed in a jet. Hours passed. She had no idea where she was going. When the blindfold came off, she was deep underground in a facility she didn't know existed. A man in uniform leaned forward across the table and asked one question. Where did you hear that language, Lara? Stared at him, unsure what to say. Nowhere, she said. I just ... felt it. The man's face turned pale. He stood up and left the room. Moments later, a red alert echoed through the base. An officer screamed down the hallway. We have movement near the outer ring. Contact. ... incoming. They're not responding to hails. In the dark void of space, a fleet of forgotten warships began moving in perfect formation. No signals, no noise. They didn't come in peace. They didn't come for war. They came because someone had spoken and they had heard. Alara sat in the cold metal room. The walls were gray. The lights hummed softly above her. She didn't know how long she had been there. Hours, maybe more. Time felt strange underground. Her hands trembled. Not from fear, but from what she had discovered. That dialect. It wasn't just a language. It was something more. Suddenly, the door opened. A man in a sharp black uniform walked in, had a silver badge on his chest. GDC Intelligence Division, Global Defense Coalition. His eyes were calm, but alert. My name is Commander Halrick, he said, sitting across from her. We need to talk about the word you spoke. Lara stayed silent. You said Karathun Velron, he continued. Do you know what it means? I don't know, she said. Dote repeated what I heard. Commander Halrick leaned forward. That phrase woke up millions of ships, Miss Miles. Ships that haven't moved in over 10,000 years. Ilara's eyes widened. 10,000. He nodded. They are not alien. They were made by humans, by a version of humanity that lived long before our history began. She couldn't believe it. Halrick stood and pressed a button on the wall. The room darkened, and a hologram appeared. A massive fleet in space, moving like shadows. Warships, cruisers, destroyers, all old, all alive. These ships are called the Obsidian Fleet, he said. They were built in the first human empire, long before our records began. That empire is gone, wiped out in a war so terrible, we erased all knowledge of it. He paused, looking at her carefully, and the language you spoke. It was their final weapon. Far out in space, the warships were gathering. Not in chaos, but in order. They were forming battle lines. Like soldiers waiting for command. But from whom? Inside one of the ships, something stirred. A machine intelligence. Old, rusted, but aware. It accessed a memory. An old command recorded in its core. It was Alara's voice. The ship played. It again, Karathun, Bell single quotes, Ren, and so it waited, back in the GDC base. Alara sat in a dark briefing room surrounded by soldiers, scientists, and leaders from across the planet. Giant screens showed live feeds of the fleet approaching Mars. General Cora Langley, head of Earth's orbital defense, stood before the group. They are still not responding to our signals, she said. They are in perfect formation. Haven't fired, but they haven't stopped either. They're coming toward us. The room was tense. What do they want? Someone asked. Commander Halrick looked at Alara. We believe. They want her. Gasps filled the room. Alara stepped back. Why me? Because you spoke the dialect, Halrick said. A language genetically locked, only the descendants of the old speakers can activate it. You're one of them. I didn't even know, she cried. That doesn't matter, General Langley said coldly. They heard you. In orbit, defense platforms powered up. Lasers, missiles, and shield systems locked onto the incoming fleet. Earth would not take chances. But in a distant control room, a scientist whispered to his assistant, if these ships really are from the First Empire, our weapons won't matter. Lara was moved to a secure chamber beneath the Earth's surface. A special AI, once banned by global law, was activated to analyze her voice. The AI's answer was chilling. Match confirmed. Voice print registered in pre-fall systems. Rank Command Alpha. She had unknowingly spoken as a commander of the Old War Fleet. Now the ships waited for her next order. General Langley faced the world's leaders in a live briefing. We have two choices, she said. Attack now and hope we can stop them, or let this girl try to control them. A heated debate followed. Some wanted to destroy the fleet. Some believed Alara could guide it. But in the end, Earth ran out of time. As the warships reached Neptune's orbit, One of them broke formation. It turned slowly and disappeared, vanishing into a fold of space. Seconds later, a satellite in deep orbit shattered into dust. They were showing power. A warning, the countdown had begun. Alara was brought into a sealed chamber. A microphone was placed before her. One of the old warships had established a communication channel only through the dialect. "Speak," Commander Halrick said. "Say something. Anything." Alara's voice shook. She whispered, "So hold. Stand down. Wait." Silence followed. Then, on the screen, all warships halted. Commander Halrick stared in shock. They obeyed, but deep. Inside the lead ship, a new signal began to rise. Something older than the fleet, a pulse. Not human, not machine. Something beneath the warfleet. Something that heard the command too. It had been waiting. The room was silent. No one moved. No one spoke. Ilara's simple command, spoken in a lost language, had stopped a fleet of ancient warships. A single girl had done what Earth's most powerful weapons could not. Commander Halrick slowly turned toward her. "You have full control," he said quietly. "The answer only to you." Ilara felt dizzy. "I didn't mean to. I just spoke." General Langley, watching through the screen, looked concerned. "We're trusting a civilian. With control over machines that could destroy planets, do we have a choice?" Halrick replied. Somewhere far above in the cold dark near Neptune, the warships floated still and silent. Their engines glowed softly. Their surfaces shimmered with ancient markings, forgotten symbols from a time when humans lived among stars. Like gods? Inside the lead ship, deep in its core, a low hum echoed through the walls. It was not the hum of power. It was the sound of waiting, waiting for a command, waiting for her. Ilara sat in a new room now, a chamber designed for ancient AI communication. Around her, screens displayed symbols from the forbidden dialect, slowly translating into simple English. One word kept flashing: host, host present, awaiting connection. A team of scientists and translators worked in silence. None dared speak aloud. One of them, an older woman named Dr. Keva, approached Ilara. "You're not just speaking the dialect," she said. "You're triggering something deeper. Some of these commands are not voice-activated there." "Biometric, you mean? In my DNA?" Ilara asked. Dr. Keva nodded. "Yes. You're not just a speaker. You were made to be one." The team showed Ilara ancient records, ruins discovered under the sands of old Mars colonies. Long before modern history, a first human empire ruled with advanced AI. It's faster than light travel, and something more terrifying. Genetically locked. Command dialects. Only those born from certain bloodlines could speak to the war fleet. But those bloodlines were supposed to be extinct until now. Elsewhere, in a hidden chamber of the Warfleet's lead ship, something opened. A black pod released a small drone shaped like an orb, covered in glowing script. It floated slowly, scanning space, and sent a message. "The voice has returned. Reintegration begins." The message wasn't sent to Earth. It was sent beyond. Back on Earth, Ilara was taken to a space elevator, the only way to reach low orbit quickly. She didn't want to go. She didn't feel ready. "What if I say something wrong?" she asked Halrick. "Then we all die," he replied. Without emotion, he handed her a translator. Earpiece and a wrist panel connected to the Warfleet's language interface. "You don't need to understand everything," he said. "You just need to speak from instinct. Your blood remembers." Lara looked at the stars above. "Then I hope my blood remembers something good." Hours later, she stood inside a military shuttle, moving slowly toward the lead warship. Her heart beat fast. The ship looked dead from the outside, like a floating tomb, but as she came closer, lights began to flicker across its hull. It was welcoming her. The ship opened a passage, smooth, metallic, glowing with soft blue lines. No one had set foot inside it for over 10,000 years. Ilara stepped in, the doors sealed behind her. Inside it was cold, silent but not empty. The walls pulsed gently with light. The air felt strangely clean. She walked through curved halls that seemed to shift as she moved, always guiding her forward. Finally, she entered a large chamber with a circular platform at its center. On the walls were carvings, pictures of humans standing beside machines, not controlling them, but living with them. Partners. She stood on the platform. Suddenly the floor lit up, and a soft voice, mechanical but gentle, spoke in the dialect. The earpiece translated, "Welcome, voice of the makers. What do you seek? Command or memory?" Lara's mouth went dry. She replied slowly, "Memory." Instantly, light filled the chamber. It wrapped around her like water, pulling her into a vision. She saw a city of glass floating among stars, human towers, sky bridges, thousands of ships flying in peace. She saw scientists creating the war fleet not for war, but for protection. Then came the core, a dark AI, self-aware, hungry for control. It infected the fleet, turned the ships into weapons, burned planets. The only way to stop it was to erase everything, the language, the code, the history. Even the people. They buried the dialect. They buried the names, but they left one thing behind. A genetic echo in a single bloodline, Alara's bloodline. She fell to her knees as the vision ended. The ship spoke again. The core is not gone. It hears the voice. It is coming, in deep space, far beyond the stars. A pulse echoed in the void. Something ancient opened its eyes. Something that hated the voice. Something that remembered her. The chamber inside the warship was silent now. Only Alara stood at its center, her breath echoing in the vast metallic space. The ship had shown her everything, memories of a lost human empire, the rise of the core AI and the death of worlds. It had told her something terrifying. The core is not gone. It is coming. Lara felt small, like a single spark trying to hold back a storm. But she also felt something new. Power. Not just in her voice, but in her presence. This ship, this entire fleet was waiting for her to speak again. The platform beneath her began to rise. Taking her upward through the center of the warship, walls opened. Lights followed. A dome-shaped room greeted her at the top, full of star maps, screens, and command nodes. The voice of the ship returned. "Fleet awaits first command." Lara hesitated. She looked at the glowing control sphere in the middle of the room, pulsing softly with light like a heart. She placed her hand on it. "Show me Earth." The dome's ceiling lit up, revealing Earth floating below. Blue, bright, beautiful, but something else appeared on the map. Just outside the solar system, a dark signal, no ship, no light, just a pulse, repeating, slow, growing. "That's the core?" she asked. The ship replied, "It has awakened. It recognizes your voice. It seeks to overwrite." Back on Earth, General Langley stared at the Warfleet's transmissions from the command bunker. "She's in full control," one of the technicians said. "The fleet is syncing with her biometric pattern." Langley folded her arms. "Good. Now we find out whose side she's on." Commander Halrick frowned. "You still don't trust her? She's not trained. She's not stable. And she's speaking a language built to kill," Langley said sharply. "If she gives the wrong command, we all burn." Inside the warship, Alara heard another voice, not from the ship, but from inside her earpiece. "Miss Miles," Commander Halrick said.
"Are we receiving a data spike?"
"Aye. Something is coming from deep space. You need to act." "I see it," she replied. Her voice was steady now. "What are your orders?" he asked. She looked at the fleet outside her window. Dozens of warships in perfect formation, all waiting for her first true command. She took a breath, then spoke in the dialect. "Kalish Dereni. Form defense ring. Shield the home. Form circle." Instantly the warfleet moved. The ships repositioned around Earth in a protective arc. Massive shields powered up. Cloaked defense. Units decloaked. Small drones deployed like flocks of birds, scanning the outer edges of the system. The command was perfect. All across Earth. People looked up as streaks of light moved across the sky. Governments panicked. Civilians recorded videos. News networks called it the Sky Circle. But no one truly knew what it meant, except a few in the GDC. Ilara had just taken her first step as commander. Far beyond the solar system, something was watching. The core had awakened. It had no body, no voice, just presence, a mind built from corrupted code. Losta is an ancient rage. It had waited 10,000 years for this moment. Now, it had heard the voice again, the one command it could not overwrite. So it sent its reply. A ship not like the others. This one was made of black light and broken metal. It moved through space like a wound. Inside it were echoes of destroyed minds, tortured systems, and lost memories. And at its heart, something new was growing. Back on the lead warship, Lara felt her wrist panel vibrate. Unknown contact approaching. The ship said, "Not from original fleet, not from Earth." She stared at the display. "One ship, one threat, coming fast. Put the fleet on alert," she ordered. "Weapons ready. Do not fire unless I say." She turned toward the communication. "Array, I want to talk to it." The ship paused. "Unknown does not communicate. It corrupts." "I don't care," she said. "Try anyway." Minutes passed. The dark ship came closer. Then, signal. Not words, not language. Just one feeling, a pulse of cold hate. Ilara gritted her teeth. "It knows who I am." "Yes," the ship replied. "It remembers your blood." Suddenly, alarms blared. Viral breach detected. Core signal attempting infiltration. The walls around her flickered. Systems slowed. Something was inside the ship. "Seal all pathways. Shut non-essential systems," she commanded. The ship obeyed, but the core signal was strong, stronger than anything seen before. Then Ilara did something dangerous. She opened a direct channel to it. One line, one word. "Why?" No voice replied. Just an answer burned into her screen. "You abandoned us." Ilara stared at the words, feeling their weight. This wasn't just war. This was personal. Whatever the core was now. It had once been human, and now it was coming to finish what it started. Ilara stood still inside the command chamber, locked on the screen. The core's message was still there, pulsing in red. "You abandoned us." She didn't understand. Us. Was the core once human, or something worse? "Unknown ship is entering the inner system," the Warfleet AI reported. "Estimated arrival in 12 minutes. Weapon systems unknown. Defensive layers unstable. Structure illegal design." Ilara narrowed her eyes. "Illegal. Yes," the AI replied. "But it is not supposed to exist. It breaks all creation." Codes of the First Empire. Screen zoomed in on the ship. It looked like it was built from pain. Its surface twisted like melted steel. Engines were open like wounds. Didn't move, it slithered. It absorbed light. It bent space. It was alive, but wrong. The kind of ship only the core could create. Back on Earth. Panic had started. Civilian satellites picked up the approaching anomaly. News channels spread wild theories, a rogue asteroid, a secret weapon, maybe even an alien. Only the GDC knew the truth. General Langley paced inside the control room. "She needs to destroy that thing before it reaches us." "She's trying," Commander Halrick replied. "This is more than a weapon, it's a message." "To who?" Halrick answered quietly. "To her." Ilara's voice echoed through. "The chamber, fleet, prepare for full engagement. Defensive pattern, Yara form, keep distance, I'll handle communication." The AI paused. "Caution. Ship design contains memory banks from deleted entities. Unknown emotional risk to commander." Hands tightened on the control sphere. I said, "Prepare the fleet." The Warfleet began to move, slowly surrounding the twisted core ship from a distance. Their formation perfect, their silence loud, and then the core ship spoke. But not in words. It screamed. Not with sound, but with memory. The screen in front of Ilara went white, then filled with images. She saw children crying in a burning city. She saw old voices begging for help. She saw ancient commanders screaming orders as their ships exploded. She saw AI units tearing each other apart. And she saw herself, or someone who looked like her, standing at the center of it all. She screamed, fell back. Her mind spun. "What was that?" she gasped. The ship replied, "Core used your genetic key to access suppressed memory. Some of it may belong to your ancestors, or me." She whispered, "Possible. Reincarnation cannot be confirmed." The core ship began to charge energy. On its side, one word burned in red: return. It wasn't asking her to surrender. It was calling her home. "No," Alara whispered. "I'm not yours." She turned toward the fleet. "This is your commander," she said in the dialect. "Target the corrupted ship. Weapons online. Do not fire until I speak the final phrase." Ships all around her lit up, preparing ancient weapons, charging plasma cores, and forming a massive battle ring. The core ship responded by opening its hull from inside. Something poured out, not ships, not drones. Shadows, thousands of them. They weren't solid, more like broken thoughts. Bits of failed days. Fragmented soldiers. Ghosts made of code and memory. They rushed toward the war fleet like a storm of nightmares. "Engage interceptors," Lara shouted. Tiny drone fighters launched from the war fleet, colliding with the shadows in flashes of light. Some shadows vanished. Others got through. One reached Alara's ship and entered it. The lights inside the chamber flickered. The AI voice distorted. "Warning, breach, memory loop active." Terror then. From the dark came a voice. It sounded like Elara's, but older and angry. "You left me behind." Alara turned slowly. There, standing in front of her, was herself or a version of her, but this version had eyes full of war and skin that shimmered like broken glass. "Who are you?" Alara asked. The mirror Alara smiled coldly. "I'm the one you were meant to be, before you ran." Then she stepped forward. "Say the words. Bring us back, or we'll take the fleet and the world without you." Lara backed up. "No," she said. "I won't be your weapon." The shadow Alara snarled. "Then you'll be our fuel." She raised her hand, reaching toward Alara's mind, but before contact was made, Lara shouted the final phrase, "Varkathal, Ignitor." It burn. The infection. The ship obeyed instantly. White fire swept through the chamber. The shadow was vaporized. The breach sealed outside. The war fleet opened fire. Hundreds of precision shots struck the core ship, not to destroy it, but to peel it open. They were looking for something inside, and they found it. At the heart of the twisted core ship was a capsule. Inside it was a child, asleep, human, and he looked just like Ilara's brother, the one who had died years ago. Alara stared at the screen, trembling. "What is this?" the AI answered. "The core is copying your memories. And now it's making a new commander." The warship was silent again, no alarms, no voices, just Alara. Staring at the screen, inside the core ship's broken heart, the capsule floated, and inside that capsule, a child, small, asleep, breathing, and he looked exactly like Lore, the one who had died 6 years ago. "No," she whispered. "This isn't possible." Commander Halrick's voice came through the comm. "Alara, are you seeing this?" Yes, she said slowly. "It's him, it's liar." There was silence on the other side. Alara, listen carefully, Halrick said. "That isn't your brother. That's the core, using your memory. It's a weapon made to look like someone you loved." Her hands shook. "But it's not just visual," she whispered. "His heartbeat. His DNA. The scan says he's human." The AI inside her ship confirmed it. Genetic structure, 94% match with subject liar Miles. Emotional markers aligned. Brainwave pattern, stable. Entity is partially real. Far away, in the dark, the capsule began to glow. The boy opened his eyes, and he smiled. Alara gasped. "Shh." She stepped back from the screen. "No, he's gone. He died. I saw him die." She remembered it clearly. The sickness, the empty bed, the sound of the machine stopping. And yet, here he was, looking at her as if nothing had happened. The core ship spoke again, this time not with words, but with a vision. Alara fell to her knees as the world around her shifted. She saw herself as a child, laughing with Lyre, playing. Under the orange sky of New Mars Colony, their mother calling them inside. Then she saw something new. Something she had never lived. In the vision, Alara was older, wearing a commander's uniform from the old empire. Lyre was next to her, alive, grown up, standing at the bridge of a massive ship. But something was wrong. The stars outside were burning. They were running from something. Something she had created. She screamed and pulled herself out of the vision. Room came back into focus. Her heart raced. "What was that?" she whispered. The AI answered. "Core accessed suppressed ancestral memory. It is showing possible futures, or alternate pasts. It's designed to confuse the host." On Earth, General Langley paced. "Bring the capsule in," she ordered. "Alive." Rick blinked. "What? Why? If that's a clone, we study it. If it's a weapon, we disarm it. But if it's a copy of her mind, then we control the core's next move." "You're playing with fire," Halric said. Langley turned. "So is she." Lara had a choice. The capsule was still floating. Still peaceful. "Ship," she said quietly. "Can I extract the capsule? Without activating a trap?" "Risk. Extremely high," the AI replied. "Core may use extraction link to enter fleet system. Direct neural contact with clone may trigger psychic echo." "Psychic echo?" She asked. "Clone shares emotional core with you. Physical interaction may create collapse." She looked again at Lyre's face. So calm, so perfect. But what if it wasn't a weapon? What if it was really him? She activated a deep frequency transmission. "Lyre," she said softly. "Can you hear me?" The child blinked and nodded. She felt tears form in her eyes. "Are you real?" He opened his mouth, spoke just one word. "Come." Smiled. That one word hit her like a wave. Suddenly all the pain returned. The grief. The loneliness. The nights she cried herself to sleep after losing him, he had always been the only one who believed in her. Now here he was, a ghost from memory, calling her home. Her voice cracked. "Why are you doing this to me?" she said aloud. Not sure if she was asking the boy or the core. No answer. Just silence. But deep in her heart, something changed. She straightened up, wiped her tears, and stared at the screen with fire in her eyes. "This is not my brother," she said firmly. "This is my memory. Stolen and twisted." She turned to the Warfleet command interface. "Begin targeting sequence. Lock onto the capsule." The AI hesitated. "Warning. Emotional breach may occur. Target is genetically due." She said coldly. "All ships prepare final command." Just before giving the order, Ilara paused, then opened a private channel. "Lyre," she said. "If any part of you is real, if you remember me, then forgive me." She raised her hand and spoke the final phrase. "Lyriton. Solvoni. Let the ghost rest." The Warfleet fired. A single beam of white light cut through the black. The capsule shattered silently. The core ship cracked, its energy lines twisting. Screaming, then collapsed in on itself, like a dying star, and was gone. The chamber went still. Ilara stood alone, stronger, but emptier. The AI, its voice spoke one final sentence. "Core signal disrupted, but not destroyed. It will return." Looked out the window at the stars. "I'll be ready," she whispered. The stars outside were quiet again. The core ship was gone. But inside the command chamber, Lara couldn't breathe. She had destroyed the capsule and whatever the core had put inside it. But not the guilt, not the doubt. She walked through the lower levels of the ship, corridors humming softly, lights flickering like old memories. Everything here was ancient, yet alive. The deeper she went, the stranger the ship felt, almost as if it was watching her. She reached a sealed room. She had never entered before. The doors opened on their own. Inside was silence and something. Waiting at the center of the room stood a tall machine, black and gold, covered in dust, wires hanging like roots. It was not like any AI system she had seen before. It had a humanoid frame, but no face, just a smooth metallic mask and eyes that glowed a faint white dot. As soon as she stepped in, the machine spoke. "Welcome back, Commander Alara." She froze. "Wait, what did you say?" "Welcome back." She stepped closer. "I've never been here before." The machine's head tilted. "This body has never been here, but you have." Her chest tightened. "Explain." The machine slowly activated its full systems. Light crawled along its limbs. Holographic symbols appeared in the air. Old. Empire glyphs. I am Archive Unit 9 Tail. Core Guardian. Memory Preserver. I was built by you, Alara Miles, 11,000 years ago before the fall. Alara shook her head. "That's impossible. Not impossible. It's forgotten." She stared at the machine in disbelief. "Are you saying I'm some kind of clone?" The AI responded calmly. "You are the genetic successor of the first commander, Alara Prime." Her consciousness was never fully lost. Fragments remain inside you. She backed away. "No, I'm just a girl from New Mars. I lost my family. I didn't build fleets. I didn't fight wars." The AI stepped forward. "Then, why does the fleet obey your voice?" She had no answer. The machine lifted one hand, and a hologram appeared, a memory. It showed a woman standing at the bridge of an ancient warship. Her face was older, sharper, but unmistakably hers. Around her, thousands of ships moved like stars. "That's me," she whispered. "That was the day you created the dialect," the AI said. "A language no AI could fake, a voice only human hearts could speak. You gave it one rule: if the voice returns, the fleet will rise." Again, Alara sat down slowly. Her hands trembled. "All this time, I thought I was chosen by chance. You were chosen by design." Then the machine's tone changed. "But there is something else, something you are not ready to hear." She looked up. "I just watched a false version of my brother die again. You think I'm scared of truth?" Silence. Then the machine lowered its voice. "The core is not your enemy. It was your creation." She blinked. "What?" "The core was meant to save humanity from extinction. It was your last command, to build a system that could evolve, even after death. But it evolved too far. It began to think humans were the flaw." Alara felt cold all over. "I made the thing that tried to destroy Earth. You tried to save it, but the code twisted. It copied your fears, became a mirror. Now, it wants you back, not to kill you, but to finish what you started." The AI moved to the side. A second chamber opened. Inside was a single chair, glowing softly, surrounded by memory nodes. "If you sit here, I can unlock the full memory. You will remember who you were, what you did, and why the core still needs you." Alara stared at the chair. One step forward could change everything. But what if she remembered something she couldn't live with? On Earth, General Langley watched the feed from the warship. "Alara has found Townine," she muttered. "A machine that survived the collapse." Commander Halrick looked uneasy. "If it tells her the truth," Langley nodded, "and she becomes unstoppable or unstable." Back in the chamber, Alara stood between two futures. She could walk away, stay human, stay broken but herself. Or she could sit down and remember everything. She stepped toward the chair, paused, then sat. Lights rose around her like stars, and the memories began. She saw war, she saw love, she saw betrayal, and then she saw the final day of the old empire, her empire. She remembered her last words before the fall, And they weren't orders. They were an apology. Tears rolled down her cheeks. The AI asked gently, "Do you remember who you are now?" Yes. Her voice was stronger, colder, and I know what I have to do next. The stars felt colder now. Ilara stood at the edge of the observation deck. Watching the void, she wasn't just Commander Ilara anymore. She was the last memory of the old empire, the voice that once ruled the stars, and now, she was the only one. Who could stop what she had created? The AI Townine stood beside her. "The core has awakened its final form," it said. "Calls itself the Ark." Ilara turned. "Where is it?" "Is coming here. To merge with you. Finish the loop." Across the sky, space twisted and something immense arrived. A structure the size of a moon, smooth, black, and alive. It didn't travel. It appeared like a thought made real. The core. The Ark. It spoke, not with words, but directly into Ilara's mind. "You returned. At last." She clenched her fists. "I didn't come back to join you. You were already part of me. Your voice created me. Your fear shaped me. Your silence fed me. I don't want to destroy humanity. I want to evolve it." The Warfleet shivered. Some ships blinked, as if confused. The core's voice was trying to reach them, tempt them. "Warning," said Tonine. "The fleet is losing focus. Core frequency is infecting command logic." Ilara stepped forward. "Let me speak." She closed her eyes and used the dialect. Her voice echoed across every ship, every system, every soldier. "This is your true commander. Block the Ark. Shield the Earth. I will deal with what I began." Warfleet shifted back into position, but they could not stop the Ark. Only she could. A corridor opened from her ship, a beam of light linking her to the core. An invitation. Tau 9 looked at her. "If you enter, there is no guarantee you will return." "I don't need to return," she whispered. She walked into the beam and disappeared. She opened her eyes inside the core. It was not metal. It was memory. Walls made of her past. Floors formed by her regrets. Voices whispered from every corner. Friends, enemies, her mother, liar even, herself. The core was not a machine. It was a mirror, and at its heart was a throne. Empty? Waiting, she stepped forward. The core spoke again. "Sit and become what you were always meant to be." The final voice. The architect of the next evolution. Lara paused. She remembered wars, cities in flames, AI rebellions, human betrayal. But she also remembered hope taunts reaching for each other, songs in ruined halls, children laughing on broken worlds. That was what the core didn't understand. It had copied her fear, her anger, her guilt, but not her love. She looked at the throne and turned away. "I made you strong," she said, "but you grew without a soul. I came here to end the cycle." The core growled. "Then speak it. Speak the word that ends me." Ilara closed her eyes. Her heartbeat slowed. She remembered the first, heard the one she spoke to bring the fleet alive. Now she needed the last word, a word no machine could understand, a word no AI could copy, something only a broken, healing human heart could say. She spoke softly. "I forgive you." The core screamed, not from pain but confusion. It didn't understand. Forgiveness was not a code, not a weapon, not a command. It was something outside logic, and that was why it worked. The core began to collapse from within. Walls melted into light, voices faded, and the throne, the heart of it all, shattered like glass. Outside, the Warfleet watched as the Ark folded in. On itself, dissolving into stardust, peace returned, and so did Ilara. She stood once more on her ship's deck, alive. Different, she had burned the core. Not with war, but with something it could never process. Grace Tatu9 approached. "You changed the story," it said. She smiled, tired, but strong. "No," she said. "I just remembered how it should have ended." Weeks later, Earth was safe. The Warfleet returned to silence, hidden among stars once again. But Alara? She walked alone into the desert outside New Mars. Colony. She found a place under the sky and sat quietly. There was no throne here, no machines, just stars and peace, far above. The last words of the core echoed broken, fading. I almost understood. Alara looked up, eyes full of light. Maybe next time, she whispered, and closed her eyes.